You give what you give to yourself, and you receive what you give to yourself. You cannot offer love, consistency, commitment, authenticity, vulnerability to someone if you are not able to give that to yourself. That's a harsh truth that I had to realize. If you want others to be consistent with you, you need to be consistent with yourself. That starts in the smallest habits. If you decide to create a new habit, let's say in the morning you want to start meditating more, and you decided to start doing that, if you do not commit to that and you don't do that for yourself, then that means you're not going to be able to commit to someone because you can't even commit to yourself. If you decide that you want to start working out and the next day you don't even actually execute that action, that already tells you that you're not showing up for yourself in a consistent and commitment way. So how do you expect to attract commitment into your life if what you are telling the universe and reflecting to the universe is you're incapable of committing? You're incapable of being someone that can commit or provide consistency. That is exactly what you're mirroring to the universe. You give what you are. If you love yourself, if you have patience with yourself, if you have compassion with yourself, if you are authentic, if you are vulnerable, you're going to be able to present yourself that way with others around you. Others are only able to show up in my reality the way they show up for themselves. This is a harsh truth that I had to learn at a very young age, and I'm very glad that I learned this. And I want to share this with you all because I know, just like you all, you guys want to attract the right person, or you want to attract the right group of friends, whatever it is that you desire, you want to attract, right? It starts in the self, and this is why I created Let's Talk Self. Because the most important relationship in this world is the relationship that you have with yourself. If you can accept your flaws and love your flaws and understand that you're not a perfect human being, when you finally attract that person and they begin to trigger you, because when you are in a relationship, it's not always lovey-dovey, all the time. Relationships are meant to be transformative. They're not meant to be transactional. They're meant to be transformative. You see this a lot. When two people who have worked on themselves get together, they're able to create an empire, and they're able to actually bond even better because they know that what they dislike in the other person, they have within. They start to see their partner as a mirror. They start to see their partner's triggers as an opportunity for growth and to learn. So the problem here is that you find yourself being unable to provide commitment to your own self. You find yourself being unable to provide love, unconditional love to yourself. And so what ends up happening is that you end up actually craving love, and you have this obsession with wanting to be loved and wanting to be taken care of. And because you are in this very desperate and scarcity mindset, what ends up happening is that the universe comes and it throws some breadcrumbs to you, and you will start attracting the same type of partner, and it's going to be the same type of situation, except it's a different partner, but it's the same type overall, the same type of environment, the same type of toxic relationship. You haven't learned to see the truth. The truth is you give what you are. What you give to yourself, you will give to others. By the way, I just did my nails. I don't know if you could see it. Oh no, they're like little flowers. So yeah, this is something I didn't want to share this, but anyways, I love myself. I find ways to take care of myself. I find ways to do things that will make me feel good, right? At the end of the day, if you want to be able to not feel bad every time someone comes up in your life and doesn't present themselves the way you want, you have to understand the philosophy that others are only able to give you what they give to themselves. When someone rejects you or cannot, show up consistent in your life, that's a sign that they cannot do that for themselves. And you have to be able to be okay with that. It's detachment. That is detachment. Detachment is, you know what? I'm going to express myself with you. I like you and I want to be vulnerable with you. And if you don't respond the way I expect you to respond, that's totally okay. Do you think that I do not attract inconsistent people or inconsistent behavior? I still do. And you know what? I respond from a place of power. I respond from a place of vulnerability. I respond in a place from honesty. Okay, you're not able to provide that to me. That's fine. I'm going to be able to provide that to me. You're not the person for me. I choose to let you go, and I welcome the right person for me. And so the more you start doing this, the more you actually start raising your vibration and you start attracting the right person that's meant to be in your life. But if you choose to attach yourself to that person who is not showing up in your life consistently, who is not showing up in your life the way you know that person needs to show up, because you understand you show up with vulnerability, authenticity, consistency in yourself and in your life, you know what you're worth, you know what you deserve. If someone doesn't show up that way, you immediately say, bye. It was a pleasure to meet you. Thank you for the ride. I enjoyed it. Amazing. I found you very interesting, but move. I need space to welcome high vibrational people who are actually aligned with me. And so by doing this more often, you'll realize that you shouldn't take things personal if someone just doesn't decide to give you what you want, because you understand that you can give that to yourself. When you're continuously trying to chase for love or consistency or commitment and having to over-explain yourself and having to say, hey, you're not showing up the way I want you to show up, have to repeatedly be saying that all the time, that's a fucking sign that you are expecting more from the other person and you're not giving that to yourself. That's a sign that you are probably that person is mirroring exactly what it is that you are giving to yourself. And you should thank that person for coming into your life and being able to show that to you. It's totally okay to attract breadcrumbs. It's okay. But when you do attract breadcrumbs, now it's up to you to decide whether or not that aligns with you. And if it doesn't, that's the greatest thing you will ever do, is start saying no. I have a lot of options and I attract all types of high quality men and also low quality men. But I need that sort of contrast in my life. I need men who are high quality to show up in order for me to see what I actually want in a partner. And I need low quality men to also show up so that way I know what I do not want in a partner. Contrast is needed and you should be grateful. And this is why I believe that the more grateful you are when someone shows up and they're inconsistent and you say, thank you for showing up in my reality this way. Thank you for realizing what exactly I do not want in a partner. The more you liberate yourself and detach yourself from that person and you give space so that the person that's meant to be in your life actually comes in. But when you hold on to someone that is not treating you correctly, that's a sign that you are not treating yourself with dignity and respect. You have scarcity mindset. This is with anyone, whether you're a man or a woman. Do not beg for anyone to treat you the way you think you need to be treated. You don't have to beg anyone for that. That is a human right. You give unto others what you would like others to give to you. This is a universal law. I did not invent this. Don't idolize me. I'm just telling you guys the universal truth. Do not idolize me once again. I have my own shit. I have my own baggage. I'm not perfect. I have my flaws. But I've learned to love all of that, because the more I love all of that, the more when I do attract someone who does have garbage as well, who has good things and bad things, I understand now that I have to approach that person and love those parts of that person too, because no one is perfect. So remember, You give what you are, you receive what you are. If you want someone to show up consistent in your life, you need to start showing up consistent with yourself. If you want someone to be vulnerable with you, you need to make space for your own self to be vulnerable. That is, connect with your emotions, connect with the parts of you that you've been trying so hard not to connect with. Allow yourself to feel everything and don't judge yourself. Be authentic. If you want someone to show up authentically, be authentic. Don't be afraid to say, I don't like that. You're being too much. Do not be afraid to speak up. That is authenticity. And when you're authentic, you're going to attract authenticity. If someone is showing up in your life and they're disrespecting you and they're crossing your boundaries, or they're just not giving you the type of love that you know you deserve, that's a sign and a great fucking opportunity to start diving into the self and start looking at the self and start improving the self, so that you can start realizing that it's never been about others. Others are just coming in to mirror you. You see what you are, baby. You are what you attract. If you're someone that has a lot of love, you're going to see a lot of love in others. If you're someone that has a lot of anger, you're going to see anger in others. If you're someone that's agitated, you're going to see agitation in others. It starts in the self, and this is why I talk about the self and I prioritize the self. If you want others to show up with love, authenticity, vulnerability, and consistency, you have to show up that way for yourself. I love you guys. Mwah.